New year, new reading list. Am I right? Hi friends, it is Sam and welcome to my channel. You may notice that my video quality has improved since the last video. That's because I got a new phone, got a ring light. It's just blowing my mind. And it's only going to get better this year. I'm going to get new editing software, a new camera, so many good things to come this year. I can't believe it's 2020. Can you believe it's 2020? Anyway, as with most years of my life, 2019 was embellished with books. Mostly fictional books, but some non-fictional books surrounding my mental journey. I've always been an avid reader, and in 2019 I tried to just read for enjoyment instead of to reach a goal, because before I've read 65 books in a year and I ended up not liking reading for a while because all the books tended to blur together. They all started getting a bit samey. So I've only read 16 books this year, but that suits me fine. They're taking up a lot of space on my bed, so I can't imagine what would have happened in this video if I'd read 65 books in 2019. But yeah, I thought today I would show you what books I read, which ones I rate, which ones I slate, and we can do a little 2019 book club. Be sure to comment below what your favourite books were that you read in 2019, and we'll get a little discussion going. So I began 2019, as all years should be started really, with a cat book. This is Alfie in the Snow, and if you're an OG and you've seen my cat book collection video, you'll know that I very much like books about cats. This is book 5 in the Alfie series, and I think she's done quite a few now, and it's okay to stop, but it's also okay not to stop, and she can just release cat books for the rest of her life. Thanks, please, yes. I gave this book a solid 8 out of 10 because I love Alfie, but this isn't the bestest of the Alfie books. To be honest, I kind of prefer the first Alfie book to the other Alfie books, but still a very good read. Also, pictures of cats at the beginning of each new chapter. Can you go wrong? The next book I read in 2019 was another cat book. This one by Paul Calico, and it's quite an old book. But little did I know that another cat book I own is also by Paul Calico, and I haven't read it yet. I'm on chapter 5 of it. Only when I started reading the other one did I realise that this is the same author, so I'm really excited for the current cat book I'm reading. Yes, I'm going into 2020 reading another cat book. This is Jenny by Paul Calico. It's about a boy who turns into a cat, and he is helped on his little cat journey by a cat called Jenny, and it's very adorable. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because he really knows his way around a cat's little brain, this author, and it was very well written. This next book is probably one of the best books in the world. I gave it a solid 100 out of 10. It is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. If you haven't heard of this book, then you probably don't read all that much because it's huge. Everyone seems to love it. It got Book of the Year at the British Book Awards for a very good reason. It's very mental health oriented. It's about a woman who's trying to bury her past and is suffering from a bit of dissociation. And when she manages to pick apart what's real and what's not, she kind of falls apart herself. It's beautiful. Read this book. If you read anything in 2020, read this book. The fourth book I read in 2019 is According to Yes by Dawn French. This book, I wasn't sure what to rate because it freaked me out. The shock factor in this book is just off the scale. I couldn't believe what the character did in this book. It's basically about a mental, horny Mary Poppins. So if you're into that, This Book's For You. I decided to give it a 7 out of 10 just because it was entertaining, the writing was really good, and it was well paced, but I wasn't a fan of the ending because some things were left for the reader to decide, and I didn't quite agree with the characters' choices. The 5th book of Sam's 2019 reading list is another cat book. This one is for children, and it's To Be a Cat by Matt Haig. Now, Matt Haig is a brilliant mental health author, but he also writes cat books for children. Who knew? I love the cover art, and it's illustrated, which all the best cat books are. See Alfie series. And it was pretty good. This, again, was about a boy who turned into a cat, but it's very different. It's quite magical, witchcrafty, and a bit more sinister than the other book about a boy turning into a cat, which is strange because I think this is for a younger audience. Go figure. I gave this 6 out of 10 just because I'm not a child, and sometimes I desire a bit of a more mature writing style. The next book I read in 2019 was honestly a bit of a disappointment. I was expecting amazing things from this book. Something just didn't sit right with this book, but it was good anyway. It's Eve of Man by Joanna and Tom Fletcher. Wonderful, wonderful Joanna and Tom Fletcher. And it's beautifully designed. It's about the last female on Earth. Her name's Eve, and the establishment that's holding her is trying to find her a male partner so that she can repopulate the world. And it's kind of a love story about the relationship she forms with a guy who's not one of the lineup to be her husband. I believe this is part of a trilogy, and I will probably read the other 2 just because I want to know what happens, and I want to know if the world gets repopulated or if it just ends because humanity sucks. I gave it a 7 out of 10. The characters are a bit two-dimensional, to be honest. Book number 7 in my 2019 reading list is a book by the best author that ever existed, the genius himself, Stephen King. I saw the film for this before I read the book, which isn't very typical of me, but sometimes things like that happen. And I was very surprised to see how different the film is from the book. Because, spoiler, the wrong kid dies in the film. A lot is missed out. There's a lot of backstory in here. And as with all of Stephen King's work, it's beautifully, brilliantly written. There's a cat in it, which of course appeals to Sam. I gave this a 9 out of 10 because can he beat it? I'm not sure. After that book, I just couldn't hop off the Stephen King train. I got this book in Sainsbury's. It was like £3. It's got like a little silhouette thingy on the pages, which is fun. This is also about a shapeshifter, as with It, so it has the same sort of vibes. Honestly, I think it's scarier, but I think it's very similar to It as well. So if you liked It, you will enjoy this. It's got some of the characters from his other books in it as well, so that's quite cool for any OG Stephen King fans. This also got a 9 out of 10 from me. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant book. So after that, I did hop off the Stephen King train for a bit, but I continued with the stellar reading material. The new Skullduggery Pleasant book came out in 2019. I had to have it because Skullduggery Pleasant is one of my favourite book series ever. This is like the 12th or 13th book in the series. If you haven't heard of Skullduggery Pleasant before, it's about a skeleton. He's a detective, he can do magic, he's got cool magician friends. Brilliant, amazing series. Amazing. So good. And it's set in Ireland, so if you listen to books as opposed to read them, you get a cool Irish accent when you listen to it. So that's great. I actually met Derek Landy when I was a teenager, and it made my life fun fact, I have like 3 books signed by him, I think. Massive fan. Massive fan. Derek, I know you're watching. I love you. Marry me. This next book I actually read aloud. I read the first few chapters myself, but then my sister was like, randomly one night, hey, do you want to read to me? So I read this entire book aloud for me and my sister, which I've done before and it's pretty fun. I don't put on voices, but if she enjoys it, she enjoys it, and I enjoy it, even though it buggered my throat. It was fun. It's a lovely book. It's What If It's Us by Becky Abertali and Adam Silvera, 2 stellar authors. Also, Gaze, which is another tick in Sam's I Love box, and it was brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Very witty, very heart-wrenching, very nice. I only gave it a 9 out of 10, knocked a point off of the full 10 out of 10 because, spoiler, at the end it's not guaranteed the 2 characters stay together. I decided they do stay together, but it's up to the reader, and I don't like it being left up to the reader. I can't make decisions. Please make them for me. But yeah, this is about 2 boys who meet at a post office, and then they part ways, and one of them decides, hey, maybe I should have given him my number. So he tries to find him through like ads and Google and Facebook, and it's a story of fate and true love. This next book I bought in a charity shop in Liverpool. I just wanted something easy to read because I was falling out of love with reading again, and I thought if I just got something super teenage, super easy to read, then I'd fall back in love with reading, and it helped because I love this author and I know that her writing style is very simple but very good. So I picked this up for £1 in a charity shop. It's called Dramarama. It is by E. Lockhart and is about 2 best friends who go to drama school. It's got a gay in it, which I love very much, and it taught me quite a bit about theatre actually. So while I was enjoying the ease of the read, I also learned a little bit about theatre, so that was very good. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Book 12 in Sam's 2019 reading list is another charity shop find. I saw this in Waterstones quite a lot when it first came out, but I never actually picked it up. I just thought the cover looked nice. So when I saw it in a charity shop for £1, I purchased it. It is called We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler, and it's about a girl whose sister gets taken away at some point during her childhood, and her brother leaves, and she's essentially an only child, and she's about to go to university and she's picking apart her past. She wants to find out where her sister is, if her sister's okay, but it's also very sciencey, and Sam's dumb, so I found it hard to follow in places. There's a twist in it that made me feel like a bit of a dummy. I am going to send this to my friend to read and keep if she wants it, because if not, I'm going to redonate it because I won't read it again. And I will ask her if she saw the twist coming, and then maybe I'll feel like less of a dummy. I gave this a 6 out of 10 because I am stupid, and I found some of the smart stuff difficult to understand, so it didn't flow quite right for me. But yeah, I think my friend will enjoy this, and she can let me know if I'm stupid. Thank you, Danny. I love you. So we're coming to the last 4 books of my 2019, and I couldn't let 2019 end without reading another cat book. So my next read is Fleabag and the Ring Fire by Beth Webb. It is actually signed by the author, even though I got it in charity shop, so I didn't actually get it signed myself. And we know girl loves an illustrated book. Here is an illustration of Fleabag himself. He's a 3-legged cat, he can talk, and he goes on a quest with the Queen's handmaid and a knight, and there's magic and sword fights and medieval stuff, which is very fun. You can see the ring light in this book, which is very amusing to me. This is a children's book, and quite simple, and sometimes I got bored and lost and my mind wandered, so I did give it 4 out of 10 because it is a bit unimaginative and occasionally boring, but it's quite fun. It's easy to read. Which brings us to book number 14 in the reading list, which was a 10 out of 10 experience. Would recommend to everyone in the entire world, especially women who feel very bad about themselves, women with eating disorders, women with poor body image, women who need a kick up the butt, who need telling that they are beautiful the way they are, with cellulite and tummy rolls and chins, the whole lot. You're stunning, and this book will tell you that. This is Body Positive Power by Megan Jane Crabbe, an absolute genius and visionary and hero and goddess and beauty. Oh my god, this book changed my life. I may have failed at eating disorder recovery if it hadn't been for this book. I mean, I'm still in eating disorder recovery. It's not over. I still get intrusive thoughts and it's very bad. But this book saved my life. Honestly, if there's a tiny part of you that hates how you look, even if it's minuscule, please read this. It's incredible. And the penultimate book in my 2019 book list is another book on eating disorders that I found in a charity shop for £1 called Diet of Despair. It is for children with eating disorders and their families, but there was a lot I related to, and I actually annotated it. I underlined things that I related to and things that I didn't quite relate to, and I wrote down my own experiences. So I found this book very helpful, although it does occasionally fat shame, not in a massive way, but it's very, you're not fat, it's all in your head. And I think that the author could have done better with telling young people it's okay to be fat, and fat isn't a bad thing, and fat is a natural thing for some people. There are people who are fat, fit, and healthy, healthier and fitter than I am. And that's natural and fine and beautiful. I gave it 6 out of 10. It's informative, but it's not completely positive. And the final book I read in 2019 is The Mister by E.L. James. This is the author who wrote the 50 Shades of Grey series. I honestly should have kept that in mind before I started reading it, because the 50 Shades of Grey series is famed for BDSM and sex and naughty stuff. Naughty, sexy stuff that Sam doesn't partake in and makes her cringe a little bit. When the sex started happening, it was relentless. It was descriptive. It was very pornographic. So although this, like with the 50 Shades series, this had a story and stuff that didn't relate to sex in it, the sex was a bit overwhelming for me. The writing was good and the characters were okay. I feel like her male characters are very samey, but that's nitpicking and that's my opinion. You might think differently, but I gave it a 6 out of 10 because it's not perfect. It made me cringe a little bit, and the male characters are a bit two-dimensional. So yeah, just to recap or recommend my favourite books of 2019, these two are the flawless books that I read in 2019. So if you're looking for a good old book to kick off your 2020, non-fiction recommendation, fiction recommendation, please give these a read. They're amazing! I hope your festive period was amazing. I hope you continue to enjoy winter even though it's dark and cold and wet. Stick around if you want to behold what I got for Christmas. This book's actually on that list. I probably won't include it in my what I got for Christmas video because I've just shown it here. I got this for Christmas, spoiler alert. Yeah, subscribe for that, like and comment, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye!